Hi everybody, we are Mike and Brenda Baker, and today we're going to be talking about the importance of weekly date nights as a couple.
All right, weekly date night. So we've hammered this a little bit, but we're going to hammer it some more. Why? Because it's vital. It's vital to communication. It's vital to your sex life. It's vital to how the kids view you. What?
No, go ahead.
Oh, so here's something a lot of couples forget. They get so involved in kids' activities that they forget that they're a couple. Mm-hmm. There was something I always told the boys whenever they'd mouth off to mom, right? Remember that she is my wife before she's your mom. And if I won't take that kind of crap off somebody my age, I'm certainly not going to take it off somebody your age. So now a lot of that is cemented in date nights and another thing called couch time, which we'll talk about at a different time, okay? But date nights, look, I can't get nearly as intense about date nights as I'd like to get, because you really need to understand. I've heard date night is the one thing with men and women that we get the most pushback on. Well, Mike, what's wrong?
We don't have time
because
for it.
I'm going to tell you, what?
We don't have time for it.
Yeah.
We can't afford it.
Okay, I mean, we tell couples once a week, and I'm going to hold to that right now, because I've seen the ones who do it once every couple weeks and the ones who do it once a month, and I get that all the time. Well, Mike, what about once a month? Well, Mike, well, we can't really do that, because we're busy, and I don't care. This is your spouse, okay? My thing is, let your remarriage be your last marriage. Mm-hmm. You want this thing to work, and I am going to rant a little bit here. You want this thing, and I'm actually ranting at the guys. I'm ranting at the women. Not you.
I'll rant.
Not you. She's going to rant at you here in a second. But at the guys, okay, cut the crap. There is nothing more important in your life than your spouse. Okay? You have committed. All right? If you're religious at all, then you know that as Christ died for the church, the guy needs to be willing to sacrifice for his wife too. The relationship is foundational to the family. Something as simple as date night will help hold that whole thing together. And when you refuse to do it because you don't have time, you're really saying, I don't care. And don't think for 2 seconds that your spouse doesn't get that. Well, I don't think we need to do it every week, Mike. All right, when you've got 24 years of marriage and a successful marriage under your belt, then you come talk to me. If you don't, you're not qualified. I'm telling you right now, hundreds of couples dealt with, soldiers dealt with, civilians dealt with, guys who thought they knew better who are now divorced, I might add.
For the second time.
For the second time. I'm telling you right now, date night is not a compromise.
We wouldn't be the couple today that we are if we hadn't have done the date nights when we could afford it, when we had time for it, and when we didn't. So ladies, if you're telling your husband, oh, we really can't afford to go on a date night this week, let's just not. Those are the times when you absolutely need to go on a date night, because you've got financial stress on your mind. Yeah. You need to go for a hike if you have to. Obviously right now during the coronavirus issue, we're confined to our house. Okay, maybe you can go walk your neighborhood together. Have somebody come and watch the kids, or have them watch each other.
Yeah, if they're old enough.
Do something alone together. Wait till the kids go to bed and have a planned out date night then. Have a special dessert that you don't share with the kids, and that's okay. You've got to make the time right now when your kids are small, or even if they're not, to give them the security of a good marriage. If they know that you guys have a strong marriage, number one, in the teen years, they will not push you as much. And number two, they will know that you guys are strong and they don't have anything to worry about.
And they have an example to look at. So let me reiterate something else here. If you think date night involves dollars every time, you're wrong. There were times, and I told Brenda many times, where we would get out and we would walk Walmart. And thank God they were open till 9 or 10 o'clock at the time, because there was nothing else we could afford to do. We would go get a dessert and we'd split it. We would go
Get a coffee.
Get a coffee. Well, we didn't split the coffee. We got a coffee apiece.
A coffee
But
each,
coffees were a lot cheaper then.
Yeah, they were.
But we would hike. There's always something. Always something. Be creative. There are lists and lists and lists and lists of date night ideas that don't cost anything on Google. And don't make me spell it for you. Come on.
Okay, and there's also a site that we love to refer people to because they have lots and lots of creative ideas for date nights, and they are called the Dating Divas. Datingdivas.com. It's amazing. It's fun, printable stuff. Even if you don't have a printer, you can download it to your to a memory stick or something and take it in and print it. But there are all sorts of ideas from at-home dates to out dates to cheap dates to, and everything in between. And so you don't have any reason to say that you don't know what you should do.
Right. And just to clarify also, it's important to remember that date night doesn't have to fall just on you guys. I know I'm railing about it. It's because men, you're tired. All right. I got news for you. I have chronic fatigue. I'm tired all the time. I could take a nap. Even right now, I may not look like it. I could go lay down and take a nap right now. I'm tired all the time. But I still do date night because it's important. It is, and I've always done it. I've been tired forever. I've always done it. But what we do is we alternate. Mm-hmm. But you see, there's a thing about alternating. It takes pressure off of me. It takes pressure off of her. But then we both get to go to places that the other one doesn't always like to go to.
Yeah.
Because when I have a date night, now me being me, I usually try to pick places I know she likes.
Yeah.
Okay. But occasionally I will pick a place I know she doesn't care for that much because that's where I want to go. And the rule is, now I didn't say every time. I didn't say every time. Okay. But occasionally, and the whole idea is that she won't complain. Mm-mm. Why? Because it's my night to plan. Okay. On that night. But then there are times when it's her turn to plan that she'll do the same thing. Mm-hmm. Or she'll go someplace she knows I like, and I'm not allowed to say anything on those nights because it's her night to plan. So it eliminates the whole, what do you want to do? And you've got a whole week to plan it, for crying out loud.
Yep.
Now, the other thing, now that we can get to the list, that was all extra. So, women need security. And you would be amazed at what kind of security a weekly date night gives a woman. Mm-hmm. It communicates something to her that can't be communicated otherwise. It communicates to her that she's important, that she's on your radar, that she's going to get your time.
That she's number one.
Yeah. That there is a time that she can count on with no kids, that there is a time she can count on that you are focused and you are present, that, I can't tell you what kind of security that gives them.
And honestly, when our kids were young, I've always been a stay-at-home mom. And, well, not always, but for quite a while. Now that we don't have kids anymore, I still stay at home and I work from home. But one of the best gifts that Mike ever gave me, actually he did it a couple of times in different ways, was he got the babysitter and he figured out where we were going. And it was amazing.
I asked her once what her favorite date was, and she didn't tell me a place. She just said, one I don't have to plan. And so I listened.
One time he took me to a local hotel and we had a room for the night. Mm-hmm. And he took me to a barbecue joint. I don't like barbecue, but you know what? That's okay. It was an amazing time with him that I didn't get much of because he worked a lot.
Yeah, and it was out of town too. So
it was in town.
Was it in town? Oh, okay. All right, so what's the number 2 thing for date nights? Well, it encourages intimacy. I would have to say that as we get further in our millennium, that intimacy is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. Why? Because it's so prevalent before marriage now that it kind of takes back seat once marriage happens. Intimacy is absolutely essential in a marriage. Absolutely essential. Mm-hmm. It's the difference between buying a quality chair or buying one from Walmart.
Yeah.
Okay? If you just want one from Walmart, that thing's eventually going to fall apart, just like your marriage.
Yes.
If you want a chair that's going to last until your grandkids, then you buy a quality one that includes glue that will glue and fasteners that will last, that was built well. Okay? Intimacy is that glue that holds a chair together that long. Okay? And when you take it away, you've got the Walmart chair. So date night really encourages intimacy, and that goes for both sides.
I really think at this point you should, if you can remember it, bring up the quote about that Benjamin Franklin said.
The quote from Benjamin
A
Franklin.
marriage, or where there's a marriage without love, there will be love without marriage.
Yeah. Thank you.
And that's, I'm surprised I remembered it, because I don't always remember things as well. But that is a wonderful quote from Benjamin Franklin way back then that really applies today. There's a lot of people that think that marriage is such a bad institution and it's so boring and there's no sex and all that a lot, because that's what the sitcoms on TV are always pushing.
Yeah.
They're always pushing the idea that if you're married, you're not getting sex. That's dumb.
And not true.
Yeah. If you're doing it right, you're getting a lot of that still.
So the other thing about it is, I want you to think for a second, both of you. What is it how do you stay best friends with your best friends outside of your spouse?
Yes.
You guys are always doing stuff together. You get together, you talk all the time, Well, that's because you guys keep it fresh in that relationship. All right. Marriage is the same way. Date night helps keep marriage fresh. It helps keep you guys up on what's going on. It helps keep you guys talking. It helps keep things, where they should be, in the fact that you guys are best friends. So it becomes like a best friend relationship with perks.
Right. So it's not just friends with benefits, it's spouses with benefits. Those are good.
Benefits that belong there.
Yeah. One of the things Mike always did was he always gave me a time during date night to kind of rant a little bit, because sometimes our kids were tough because several of them had my genes, and we had a strong-willed child, and he was hard most of the time. I needed ranting. But he didn't get upset with me. Okay. And then he tried to diffuse me and helped me to see a different perspective. And it really helped me because I was around these kids all the time. I never got away from them hardly.
So if you've got questions on this, don't be afraid to contact us. We're really not, I might rant, but I'm not unapproachable. No. I really do care, but I'm straightforward because I'm tired of the excuses. That is all couples want to give anymore. The couples will come to us and they'll say, Mike, we need help with this. And I warn them every time, that I'm not nice about my help.
Which he's not mean.
But I'm direct.
He's direct.
Okay. And a lot of people can't take direct anymore. That's why I tell them that. And they're like, oh, yeah. Okay, well, 5 minutes into it, they're already pushing back. They didn't want help. They wanted a quick fix. They wanted the red pill.
We said different things.
Or the blue pill. I forget which one it is. I think it was the blue pill. They want the blue pill. They want to wake up and have everything be fine. That's the blue pill. So
if you've got problems in your marriage right now, congratulations. We all have problems. It's not just you. But we do have tried and true tips and tools that actually work. A lot of the times people think that they just should go to a marriage counselor and that's going to solve all of their problems. I've got news for you. Your marriage counselor, 9 times out of 10, is giving you information they learned in school that was not actually something that people who actually had a thriving marriage did.
Just as a final example here, if you're going to buy a car, do you take the dealer and the manufacturer's word for it, or do you actually read through the reviews of people who have owned that car?
Or a magazine.
We like this. I mean, Consumer Reports, I laugh at that all the time. I read the actual reviews of people who owned it, and I look for consistencies. Okay, it's the same thing here. You're getting spoon-fed, Freud, for crying out loud, or out of a textbook somewhere.
Yeah.
And when we work with couples, they have one of two choices. They can work with a counselor or they can work with us. We won't work with them when they're working with a counselor because what we're going to tell them is usually the opposite.
Yeah.
And we don't want to cause them more problems. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And it's really important that you understand that your counselor does not want you and your spouse to stop fighting. They don't want to give you tools because you're their monthly income.
Got a house payment to make, baby.
Exactly. So stop being that monthly income and start getting tools that are actually going to work for a real remarried couple. We've been together almost 25 years, been married almost 25 years. We do know how to do a few things. So we encourage you to contact us. There's links below that will be where you can get to us on social media. Go ahead and, contact either one of us, and we're happy to help you and get you on the right road with your spouse. Well, that's all for today. We thank you so much for being with us, and we hope that these tips helped you. It would be wonderful if you would subscribe or even leave us a comment. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.